Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off our presentation on morphology, focusing on form and structure. Today, we'll explore how words are built and how their structure influences meaning. We'll cover key concepts and insights that help us understand language at a deeper level. So, let's get started and dive into the fascinating world of morphology. Today, I want to talk about morphology, which is a fascinating area within linguistics. As you can see, it relates to language, words, and the overall structure of how words are formed. Morphology helps us understand the building blocks of words and how they come together to convey meaning. When we discuss form and structure, we're really looking at how words are constructed, what parts they consist of, and how these parts fit together. This is essential because it influences how we interpret and use words in communication. Understanding morphology is key to grasping the intricacies of language, whether you're analyzing lexicology or exploring general linguistics. It's a fundamental concept that bridges the gap between the raw elements of words and their meaningful use in language. So, in essence, morphology gives us the tools to dissect words, see their internal organization, and appreciate the complexity behind even the simplest terms we use every day. Let's take a closer look at the content index on this slide. First, we'll explore what morphology is. Morphology is essentially the study of the structure of words and how they are formed. It helps us understand how smaller units, called morphemes, combine to create meaning in language. Speaking of morphemes, that's the next key point. What exactly is a morpheme? A morpheme is the smallest unit of meaning in a language. It can be a whole word like book, or a part of a word like the prefix un in unknown. Now, it's important to understand how morphology differs from other linguistic units, such as syllables and lexemes. Syllables are units of pronunciation, focusing on how words sound, while lexemes are the base forms of words, like run or running. Morphology is more about the internal structure and how parts come together to form words with specific meanings. Next, we look at the classifications of morphemes. Morphemes can be broadly categorized into free and bound morphemes. Free morphemes can stand alone as words, like cat or happy, whereas bound morphemes need to attach to other morphemes, like prefixes or suffixes. Moving on, we'll examine how words are formed through processes like affixation, compounding, and other morphological methods. Understanding word formation helps us see how language is dynamic and constantly evolving. Lastly, we consider the concepts of productivity and blocking. Productivity refers to how freely a new word or morpheme can be created and used in the language. Blocking, on the other hand, is a phenomenon where certain word forms are prevented from forming, often because a more established form already exists. Throughout our discussion, keep in mind that these concepts all connect to our broader goal, understanding how words are built and how they function within language. Let's talk about morphology, which is all about form and structure. It's really about understanding how the way words are built interacts with sound and with meaning. When we look at the etymology, we see that the word morphology comes from two parts. Morph, which in Greek is mu omicron rho phi eta, or MORPH letter 1E17, meaning form, shape, or structure, and logi, from lambda omicron gamma iota alpha, or logia, meaning the study of or the field of. So, morphology is essentially the study of form and structure. A key concept here is the unit of morphology, which is called a morpheme. Think of morphemes as the smallest units of meaning or structure within a word. Throughout this presentation, understanding how these units combine helps us see how words function and evolve in language. So, when we analyze words, we're really examining their form, their structure, and how these elements relate to sound and meaning. This foundational idea will help us unlock the deeper patterns in language and how words are constructed. So let's talk about what a morpheme is. A morpheme is essentially the smallest meaningful part of a word. It can be as simple as a single letter, a syllable, or even something more complex. The key point here is that it carries meaning on its own or contributes to the meaning of a larger word. Now, if we look at the etymology, the term morpheme comes from the suffix eme, which originates from the Greek ema, meaning a thing resulting from an action or a minimal unit. This helps us understand that a morpheme is the smallest unit of meaning, like a building block in language. Additionally, morphemes often have distinctive, patterned segments that follow certain formats within words. For example, take the word uniform. We can break it down into two morphemes. Uni meaning one and form meaning shape or structure. Recognizing these segments helps us understand how words are constructed and how meaning is built up in language. In summary, morphemes are fundamental because they form the basis for understanding how words are created and how meaning is conveyed in language, which ties directly into our overall theme of linguistic structure. This slide doesn't contain enough information. That's why we're moving to the next slide.